Okay, then we'll get right into our sharings. So Cher, Dan, Bing, and Barb went to the Biblical Relationship seminar in Georgia this past weekend. And so they're going to share about that. So Cher, would you like to share first?
Sure. Let me come right over here.
Biblical relationship seminar?
Yes.
Okay.
So some of the highlights that really blessed me was sometimes God shows you things. One, so that you can move on. Two, to prepare you. And three, so that you can help others. And God will show you from the past. Is that getting feedback?
Yeah, you guys can mute yourselves if you're not talking.
Okay. All right.
God will show you from the past, stuff from the past to help you get closure and deliverance so that you can live moment by moment. I thought that was really great because a lot of people wonder why God shows them stuff at times. So, if you've told him you're sorry, then he forgives you and he forgets, but he might show you something to help you to get over it so that your heart can get healed, so that you're not in condemnation. You don't keep dwelling on it for years and years, but that you get over it and you can move on. So if there's something that's really bothering you like that, then tell God, God, help me to get over this. Help me to get my heart healed so that I can just move and be happy fellowshipping with you all the time. When someone brings past hurt into the present, it's because they're anticipating being hurt again. So we don't want to anticipate that. We definitely want to anticipate, having a great time, loving God, and, moment by moment. Things that I own. There's 3 things that I own. I own my body, I own my spirit, and I own the decisions that I make. Anything else is under the category of stewardship. It belongs to God. And we just get to steward it. Our longevity, how long we're going to live here on earth, is directly related to how many burdens you take on yourself of other people. So many times, you have compassion for somebody, but you can't take their burden on you. You can tell them the word so they can overcome it, but you cannot take it on yourself. So that cuts your lifespan down. So those were just some of the highlights that really, really hit me and made, the word fit together so much better for me, and that comforted my heart. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Cher.
I was muted. Thank
Yeah.
you, Cher. Those are awesome things to remember in our day-to-day walk. Dan, would you like to go next?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he opened talking about biblical relationships. And there's 2 components of biblical relationships. There's mutual respect and mutual giving and receiving. So we should have the mutual respect that we have for each other is because we have Christ in us. We have Christ in us. We also have that same spirit of faith, and that's why we have the respect for each other. We know none of us are perfect, but we all have the respect for each other, the love and the care for each other. So he thought the more that God lives in you, the more you will see people as God does. I thought that was great. The more God lives in you, in your heart, the more you'll see people as God does. The aim of a relationship is freedom. Relationships aren't designed to put you into bondage. They're designed to bring you more freedom. That part of forgiveness is living in the moment. Now, I don't know if I really understand this phrase, living in the moment. Maybe somebody else does, and they can explain
Not
it.
dwelling from the past and living in the future, which it's not there, so you can't do anything about it.
Oh, okay. So that's what I think.
You know, like day tight compartments.
And shared space, we talked a lot about shared space. Shared space is the things that you do together. That's how you practically build biblical relationships, is shared space, like our fellowships here. We build relationships, even though we're not physically present, or we can hug each other and all that, but we share a lot. We love and we laugh. So that helps build a biblical relationship. The work of Jesus Christ paid the price for all men, whether they accept him or not. And that mutual respect, that's the foundation of all our Christian relationships. So that's what I had.
Thank you, Dan.
Uh-huh.
Wow, this sounds like a great time. Barb, would you like to go next?
Sure. Well, for one thing, it was God, it was great being around all those believers, because they were from, just not just us, but the whole area was a believer place. And it was just really nice. But the one thing I went there because I wanted to improve my relationship with my husband, because I figured out, well, if I can figure out what biblical relationships are, I could figure that out. And I never looked at this way, but like Bing is God's son, okay, and like I'm God's daughter, okay, and we both have spirit in us. And I never looked at either. I never looked at him as being, like a son of God, okay, and it just opened up a whole new thing for me, because he had us all, we were all sitting around the table, and Rico goes, well, what if Jesus Christ was sitting here? What would you be talking about? And how would you be talking? And the one thing that I wanted to do was to talk nicer to Bing, because sometimes I'm just, and I don't want to be that. Would I have said that to Jesus? And if I look at him as, a son of God, well, then it helps me to, to change the attitude, which would improve both of us, to have a better attitude towards each other. So that's what really, hit me when he said that. It was like an aha moment, I go, oh God, So, God, there was there's so much there. We need to probably get all our notes together and sit down for a half hour with y'all. But there's just so much there. It was
How
such a
many more
blessing.
conferences coming up they could go to?
Oh yeah, there's another, yeah.
So,
And well, I guess a lot of you guys took that something about us in Christ or something seminar in Christ. You know what I'm talking about, Dan?
Our identity in Christ.
Yeah, that was a seminar. And I think I'm going to try to figure out a way to listen to that, because that's supposed to be really good. But, that's really all I got to say.
Well,
Yeah,
awesome. You and Bing are gonna have some great days ahead of you now
Yeah.
with that new insight.
Uh-huh.
So that's wonderful. Carol, would you like to share next?
Sure. All right. Well, I thought I would share something that I saw that really blessed me. So you all know that I work in Walgreens in a liquor store. And so I talk to a lot of people and I talk about the word, and a lot of the things that we talk to nowadays, of course, is football. So I always keep up football because I have 3 sons that love sports, and my youngest played football all the way through high school. And so I kind of keep up with everything to make sure that I can communicate with them too. So there is, they're down to the last bit of the playoffs this weekend. And I was kind of thinking all the teams that I wanted to win didn't win. And I was like, I don't even know who to root for, So there's a quarterback on the 49ers, and his name is Brock Purdy. And he was called Mr. Irrelevant. And he was the last guy to ever be drafted. And he only is playing because the starting quarterback had gotten hurt. So I heard this little clip, and I'm going to show it to you. It's not even a minute, but then you'll understand why. And I thought it would be something to share because we're in a time that people don't say what he does. And it blessed me that what he said. So I'm going to try to see. I don't know if can you see this guy?
Yes.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me put this on and hope that you can hear it right. Oh, no, wait, let me get this darn thing off.
I think the media for sure, there was, questions brought up in terms of like, how do you do it? And for myself, it was honestly, you want the truth because this is the truth. And I'm not going to just say, like a worldly answer of, I look in the mirror every night and I tell myself I'm good. It's none of that. It's man, like, this is who God has called me to be, and I've believed that from day one. I believe that Jesus Christ did come down and died for my sins and rose again, and he's living, he's living and sitting beside God on the throne. And so I believe that it's not just some story fairy tale thing. It's real, and it allows me to, stay level-headed and real with life, and I know what my purpose is. And so that all has allowed me to play my game. It has allowed me to play football at this level. And I don't go into the locker room telling everyone, I believe this or that, or it just comes about, when guys ask me or they're interested in, what helps you do what you do, then yeah, I share. But the biggest thing for me is just loving all my teammates, being where they're at, relating with them, being a relatable teammate. And then, if they ask about what I believe in, then I'm all for sharing. So I think the media for sure, there was, questions brought up in terms of like,
Okay, well, that was it. But I thought that was so cool that he's not afraid to share why and what has brought him to the point that he has peace playing and he'll be in the playoffs. So now that's who I'm rooting for.
Yeah, I'm gonna root for him too.
And it's a good example because that's an open door to speak about him and his belief in God when I'm at work too. So I just thought it was something neat, and I just wanted to share it because he blessed me when I heard him share about that.
Well, thank you, Carol. That's awesome. It's so wonderful to see someone not be afraid to tell their story, so that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
What
What
team is he on?
What team is he on?
He's on the 49ers.
Oh, 49.
San Francisco
Okay.
49ers.
Okay.
Kevin, would you like to go next?
Sure.
Okay.
Talked to a lady today, and I bought something. It was pretty neat, and it's the opportunity to talk to her and talk a little bit. We talked. They were both Christians. She asked what church I went to, and I said, "Well, I don't go to. We have our churches are kind of fellowships around the states and things." And she says, "So how does that work with? I mean, who's your pastor?" And I said, "Well, the funny thing is, I've listened to a lot of different pastors, I would call them, teachers." I said, I think I probably listened to 5 different teachings for 5 different people this week. And she says, "Well, how does that work?" And it's just a good open door to explain that God works in a lot of people, and that, she goes to a church. She loves the pastor, and I think that's great. But I said, we have our different fellowships and things. But when I was leaving there, I thought about it, and I count at least 7 different teachers that I listened to this week. And I thought how blessed we are. It's almost unbelievable that, and all of them, you know, Dan's teaching last night, Reverend Nestles last night. We listened to Dr. Worrell actually today. Oh, that's right. That's 8. So anyway, it's amazing. But one of them was Tim. You know Tim Thurlow? Thurlow? You guys named Tim? Oh, Tom. I'm sorry, Tom Thurlow.
No.
Anyway, he's a believer out in Indiana, I think, and somewhere I met him, and once in a while we go back and forth on stuff. And he said something to me, and I want to share. I think we might have hit this in fellowship, but I don't know if everybody had it. Sorry, I got to go where you can't see me, but I'm gonna read something to you. It has to do with the breath of God. It says, "There's a moment when Moses had the nerve to ask God what his name is. God was gracious enough to answer, and the name he gave is recorded in the original Hebrew as YHWH. Over time, we've verbally added an A and an E in there to get Yahweh, presumably because we have preference for vowels. But scholars and rabbis have noted that the letters YHWH represent breathing sounds or aspirated consonants. When pronounced without intervening vowels, it actually sounds like breathing. YH is the inhale, WH is the exhale. So a baby's first cry, his first breath, speaks the name of God. A deep sigh calls his name, or a groan or a gasp that is too heavy for mere words. Even the atheist would speak his name, unaware that their very breath is giving constant acknowledgement to God. Like a person leaves, likewise, when a person leaves this earth, their last breath, when God's name is no longer filling their lungs. So when I can't utter anything else, is my cry calling out his name. Being alive means speaking his name constantly. So it is heard the loudest when I'll find it. When I'm quiet. In sadness, we breathe heavy sighs. In joy, our lungs feel almost like they will burst. In fear, we hold our breath and have to be told to breathe slowly to help us calm down. When we're about to do something hard, we take a deep breath to find our courage. When I think about it, breathing is giving him praise, even in the hardest moments. This is so beautiful and fills me with emotion every time I gasp the thought. God chose to give himself a name that we can't help but speak every moment we're alive. All of us, always, everywhere, waking, sleeping, breathing, with the name of God on our lips. Tim had sent that on to me, but he said it says author unknown. But how cool is that? Yeah, YHWH.
Why?
Yeah, so it's in and out. That's the name. That's very cool. So that's what I wanted to share.
That
Thank
was
you, Kevin.
great.
Yeah, wonderful.
God
That was really
is
incredible.
so good. And that an unbeliever even can say the name of God as they breathe. It reminds me of Ecclesiastes 33:11, where God says of the wicked that he takes no pleasure in them perishing. And he even says in there, the REV really does a good translation of this verse, and I don't have it in front of me, but it's turn from your wicked ways, turn and live. And that's really God's heart. And that's the Old Testament. That's before Jesus Christ paid for the sins of the world. So any unbeliever that wants, their sins are already forgiven if they would just accept it. So thank you very much, Kevin. That's wonderful. Anybody else have anything to share on that?
I want to share, on Kevin's thing. Yeah, I have asthma, and so different times I have a lot of trouble breathing. And so I just sit down, or calm down, and I try to, listen to my breathing and speak in tongues, and give it to God. But now that I know I'm saying God's name every time I take a breath and let it out, that just blessed me so much. And I'm sure that's really going to help my asthma a lot, recognizing that. So, Kevin, 1,000 kudos to you. That was great.
I'll tell Tim too.
Yeah.
Tim's the one that passed it on. That's Tom, I mean.
Kevin,
I
would you
want
be
a
able
copy
to
of
email
that.
that to us?
Pardon me?
Would you be able to email that to us?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
love it.
That'd be great.
Everybody, that'd be great.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything to add to that?
I was just thinking that, when, God tells us that we're to keep him first in our lives, what better way to keep him first in our lives than to pay attention to our breathing? It reminds us to think about him. I mean, I love having those little kind of memory pegs, if you will, to keep the mind focused back on who made, formed, and created all of us, Some cool stuff.
Well, I've got something to add too. That was great, Judy. When you listen to your own breathing, it really tells you where you're at.
Yeah.
And, if you're getting excited or, like you mentioned, fearful, not blessed, scared, all those kind of things, definitely, it registers what's going on. So it's a good meter for sure. That was beautiful.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Okay, Rosemary, would you like to share?
Sure. Today we had a visitor that comes in occasionally throughout the year. Today was an annual visit from the exterminator guy. His name's Robbie, and he is just a good guy. I got to say, as soon as I lay my eyes on him, I just think this is a good man. We've all met people like that, but this is a good man. He just gives off love, light. He's just a blessing to be around. And Kevin and Carol and I were going to listen to The Red Thread this morning by Dr. Victor Paul Wierwille. So I said, whatever time you start, I've got a class going on. If you need to be in my room at that time, that's okay. Just, kind of be a little quiet and we can continue on. So he actually ended up in my room while we started the tape. It was not a video, just we were listening, but we had the dialogue on the screen because there was a transcript, which was very nice. It's all printed out. So he got to listen to bits and pieces. So when we were all concluded, I came out and I said, he said, "Oh, I got to listen to quite a bit of that." And I said, "What'd you think?" And he said, "Well, we're doing a Bible study that's kind of on that order. I don't know that it's exactly that, but it kind of went hand in hand, he felt like." So I offered to send him the teaching, so he could have it. And he was really, really thrilled about it. So that was a blessing, that, we had a extra body on there listening that we weren't even anticipating. And he's got a son that's about to do a mission trip in Colombia and has never, I guess, been away from home really, maybe camping trips. And they had to apply for passports. And he said his sons came within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Really a fast turnaround. He said, "We paid for expedited, but I never expected it to be that fast." And he had said quietly to God, as a father, I'm concerned about him going to a country like Colombia where it's got a little bit of a reputation. That was air quotes.
Uh-huh.
And he said, God, if this is really what you want for him, then make things happen easy. And then the passport came so quickly. So it really made him feel rest assured that he was doing the right thing. So that was pretty neat. So if anybody hasn't listened to The Red Thread in a long time, I can send you the link. And a part that really, really impressed me, many parts, but one real quick part was, you know, how the red thread binds Genesis to Revelations, where Doctor talks about the doom of the adversary is promised in Genesis 3:15 and accomplished in Revelations. So he gives one part and then the culmination, you know, where it happened and then the fix. So that was listed there, and that was neat. And he said he's the welcome home to paradise of Revelation 22:2, of which Genesis 3:22 to 24 is the banishment from paradise. So he gives the conclusions, which is kind of like reading the end of the story, right? If you're reading a good book. So that's what I wanted to share. If anybody's interested in the red thread, I'd be glad to send it. Yep, I'll be glad to.
Okay.
And it was great to hear Doctor's voice. And he still said, hope of glory.
Oh, glory.
Well, thank you, Rosemary.
Mhm.
That's-
Rosemary, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Judy and I are interested in that teaching too.
Sure,
Red thread. Thanks.
you're welcome.
And share.
Okay.
Okay, Deborah, would you like to share now?
Sure.
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to tell you a true story. It's a comedy of errors, and I selected a biblical verse for this story. It's Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to His purpose. So, I'm going to share with you how God answered my desperate prayers. Okay, so in December, Christmas was on a Monday, if you recall, and I was scheduled to fly very early Tuesday morning to Cincinnati. Well, the Saturday before, my phone died. And I had a little moment of panic thinking, I need a phone because I have to be able to call an Uber to get to the airport. I need to be able to call the Tom Perrys when I get there to say, you can come from the cell phone parking lot to pick me up now. You know, I just needed a phone. So I went to the T-Mobile store and I said, my phone is dead. And he tried to charge it. He said, yeah, it's not charging. He said, you know, if you go across the street to Battery Plus, you can buy a new battery for your phone. So I drive across the street and the guy says, well, we don't have any batteries for your model phone, but they have 3 in stock in Coconut Creek. So I drive down to Coconut Creek. Sure enough, he has 3 in stock, but he says, you know what? It's not your battery. Look, if you tap it, it vibrates. The phone works, you just can't see anything. It's your screen. Okay, so my phone is insured, and I knew that once I placed the claim, I would get a new one, but there was no way they can get one to me before I left, right? Because Monday was a holiday. So I asked the guy at the store, I said, do you know any place that sells used cheap phones? I just need a phone. You know, do they sell those burner things you see on TV all the time? He said, well, the only thing I can suggest is that you go to a phone repair store. Sometimes they have, you know, used phones. So there I am driving from pillar to post without any GPS, mind you.
I'm impressed.
Trying to find, you know, I would ask somebody, do you know where the nearest phone repair store is? And they'd say, yeah, over there. So, you know, I'm driving around. I went to like 4 different stores. Nobody had anything at a price I was willing to pay for a temporary phone. So, you know, and I'm speaking in tongues like crazy the whole time. So it's after 6. There are no stores open anymore on a Saturday night. So I go home.
Your battery's running out.
The next day, I went back to the T-Mobile store. I explained that it's the screen, and he said, okay, well, let's file a claim. I said, can I buy a phone from the store, a cheap one? He said, sure. I said, but he said he'll file a claim. So he starts filing the claim and he's putting it in, and the insurance company says, hey, there's a phone repair store that can repair your phone in Lake Worth, Florida. Oh. So I said to him, okay, I don't have time to go to Lake Worth, and if that doesn't work, to come back here and buy a phone. So if I buy a phone, would you let me return it? And he said, okay, yeah, I'll make an exception. Yes, you can do that. Okay, fine. So I buy the phone, I drive to Lake Worth, I get my phone repaired, right? The screen, they replace the screen. So I get to fly with my repaired phone, yay God. And I brought the spare one I bought just in case it died again, right?
Good idea.
Right. So come home, all is well. The phone's still not working properly because it won't charge while it's on, which is a whole nother story. So just, what's today? Thursday, Sunday, the same thing happened. The screen died again. And I brought it to T-Mobile and he said, okay, look, we're not going to do an insurance claim on that because they only cover it if it's damaged, right? We're just going to replace your phone like a warranty thing. Hallelujah. Okay. However, they can't transfer any of my data because my phone is dead. So I called the insurance company. They let me for another $31 drive back to Lake Worth, replace the screen again. Actually, what they do is they give you a brand new shell of the phone and they just stuff the guts of your other phone back in there. So that's what they do when you get a screen replaced. So yeah, I paid another $31, got my screen replaced, and my phone is at the store. They said it'll take about 3 hours to transfer all my data. So I'm gonna go on Saturday and do that. But phone communication woes, boy, you know, when you can't communicate, it feels like you're missing an appendage. But God has been so good, and really, you know, when I absolutely needed it for the trip, there it was, yay God. And now T-Mobile is replacing it and I don't have to pay a deductible. So yay God again. So all things work together for those who love God. End of story.
Awesome.
The Seinfeld episode, I kept thinking, this is a sitcom if I've ever heard one.
Yay, God. Yay, God. Thank you. So Frank and Judy, is there anything that you came up with to share that you would like to share?
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to piggyback on what Barb was saying, because I heard the exact same thing, except what I read it was, you know, your wife is a daughter of God. And I had never thought of my wife in that regard. And it was like an aha moment with a different perspective totally.
And I say,
so that's what I wanted to share. Isn't it cool how God works in the body of Christ? Yeah. Barb?
Oh gosh.
That's funny.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. So Charlie and Rita, would you like to share now?
We would love to. Well, for our Prepare to Share, we're going to share a couple songs with you guys. We haven't done that.
Oh, good.
Yay.
Figure we're due. So we picked a couple songs that we thought would really bless you guys. And, you know, we know folks are dealing with some stuff too. So that's another reason why we picked the songs that we picked. So I think they'll bless you that. Yours okay? Wendy, I give you permission to get up and dance while we sing.
Let your name be glorified. Let your power be magnified. Let your love be manifest over and over again. Let your name be glorified. Let your power be magnified. Let your love be manifest over and over again. Your name is I am. Your name is love. Your name means every good thing from above. Your name means peace. Your name means light. Your name is right. It's alright. It's alright. Let your name be glorified. Let your power be magnified. Let your love be manifest over and over again. Let your name be glorified. Let your power be magnified. Let your love be manifest over and over again. Your power is real. Your power is strong. When your power works in us, we can't go wrong. We're powerful with you. We're powerful in you. Your power overcomes wrong, and it's alright. It's alright. Let your name be glorified. Let your power be magnified. Let your love be manifest over and over again. Let your name be glorified. Let your power be magnified. Let your love be manifest over and over again. But we know your love strengthens. We know your love heals. We feel your love in our hearts so real. Your love brings light. Your love brings joy. Your love is what everybody needs. It's alright. It's alright. Let your name be glorified. Let your power be magnified. Let your love be manifest over and over again. Let your name be glorified. Let your power be magnified. Let your love be manifest over and over again. Let your name be glorified. Let your power be magnified. Let your love be manifest over and over again. Yeah.
And you know,
Spelling claps.
sometimes you just gotta ask yourself, what can I say?
What can I say to you today to make your heart a little lighter? What can I say to you today to tell your soul it's gonna be alright? What can I say to you, dear brother? I just want you to be okay. What can I say to you right now?
Well, our hearts started pumping strong just because we got to talking about all that's right and all that's wrong. We were guided through some troubling times. A lot of other people were too. We trust in our God with all our hearts. And
Our lives are living proof. What can I say to you today to make your heart a little lighter? What can I say to you today to tell your soul it's gonna be alright? What can I say to you, dear sister? I just want you to be okay. What can I say to you right now? To lift your spirit to the sky.
What do you need someone to show you? The bright light through the dark you see. My friend, will you let me help you? So your mind is again at peace. When trouble comes a knocking, oh, you don't have to open that door no more. Family forever, that's what we are. And
Love heals a troubled mind. What can I say to you today to make your heart a little lighter? What can I say to you today to tell your soul it's gonna be alright? What can I say to you, dear brother? I just want you to be okay. What can I say to you right now? To lift your spirit to the sky.
truth will help your heart be strong. Give yourself a chance to heal. In his light you can't go wrong. Your heart will know his love is real.
What can I say to you today to make your heart a little lighter? What can I say to you today to tell your soul it's gonna be alright? What can I say to you, dear sister? I just want you to be okay. What can I say to you right now? To lift your spirit to the sky.
What can I say to you?
What can I say to you today?
What can I say to you?
What can I say to you today?
What can I say to you?
What can I say to you today?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Very good.
Thank
I really like
you.
that song. Last one.
Thank you very much.
That was a great idea to sing to us. Thank
Uh-huh.
you.
Oh, good. I'm glad it blessed you guys. That's what we had to share.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Your favorite song, the first one.
Yeah, I saw your lips moving, Wendy.
I was really surprised you didn't get up and dance.
I saw her foot
But
moving.
I knew you wouldn't get up and dance. Yeah, right? Me too.
I was dancing.
Yes, you
saw
were.
ya.
I saw your lips moving too.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they've thought of that they want to share or comment on or add to? Yes, Deborah.
I just want to share a new gizmo I purchased. You know, when my phone died, somebody said, well, is your data backed up? I'm like, no. So it was grace that I got, you know, the phone back. And then it died again. And I'm like, okay, this is grace upon grace. I need to like back up my phone. So I went to Office Depot and I found the coolest little thing. I don't know if you could see that. You see how
Mhm.
tiny that is?
Mm-hmm.
It's teeny tiny. And it's got a C on one end and a USB on the other. But you don't even need to use this. You just stick this in your phone and move the data to it. It's so small that I put it on a lanyard so I wouldn't lose it.
Nice.
And it's like $40 and I got it on sale for 21. So
Nice.
Even nicer.
cool gizmo find. To find.
What kind of phone is it, Deborah?
It's a Samsung Note 8.
Okay.
And the one they're giving me has double the storage on it. The one I have only has 64 gigs and they're giving me one with 128. So
Nice. Very
Yeah.
God is good to Deborah.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I love about Samsung because we have iPhones now and it's hard to transfer data. You got to buy apps and all this other stuff.
Is that right?
But
No, you don't have to buy
some
apps.
Samsung, you just plug like what you did in it and
Yeah.
you can transfer data so easy. I miss that.
Mm. Yeah, I have a Mac and there's nothing about it that's user friendly. My personal opinion. Just saying.
You just have to have a lightning thing so it's got like what she's got, one USB on one end and something else on the other. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what you
We
got.
have a new addition to our backyard.
Oh, the bridge.
Oh,
Oh,
very nice.
Oh,
That's
how
wow.
great.
He did an excellent job on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ellen
Very
made the
nice.
bridge and Kevin put it together.
Very nice.
beautiful.
Wonderful.
That looks like troubled water flowing under it.
There's not at their house. Cute.
That's great.
Very
Hey, everybody noticed in the east a big moon tonight.
Oh, yeah.
We have fog up here. We can't see anything. The fog is so thick, they said that it's visibility is down to within a half a mile.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
the,
thick.
the moon is so big here in Silver Springs, we got to drive around it. It takes forever to get around that thing, and I'm just going down the street.
Good one.
Mm.
Okay.
Next week.
Well, next week, Deborah Rose is going to teach. So looking
Comfort and
forward to
Joy.
that.
Yeah, Comfort and Joy Part 2.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Nice.
And I get to share later in the month. And that will be on God's goodness.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. The timing was great because I was going to give a very condensed version of that tonight. And so when I realized I could share next month, I'm like, that is it. That's awesome. So, yeah.
Great.
So I thank you for that ahead of time, Dan and Cher.
Sure.
Sure.
And
I want to thank Deborah for such a gorgeous job illustrating our calendars. Doesn't she do
Yes.
a good job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bravo, Deborah.
yes, she's so talented.
And sending out cards.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Deborah, I got your late birthday card, and it was absolutely adorable.
Oh,
You think through every detail. She just puts a card together that's unbelievable. From even the envelope, you don't want to tear it up because it's so nice looking. You're a sweetheart.
accomplished.
Thank you.
oh, Oh, you're welcome. You know, if I could just, if you'll indulge me, I'll just say something to Rita. Rita, I was editing a job today and one of the links went to LinkedIn, and you know, I have to check all the links in a document. I go to LinkedIn and there's like, I have what, 25 messages, and one of them was from you.
I saw it. I responded already.
Oh, okay. I was like, sorry, I didn't
I'm
mean
not
to
real
ignore
frequent
you."
on there either. Yeah. I'm not as frequent as, yeah.
That was a message from November, everyone.
You know, I gotta tell you though, Deborah, Charlie opened the card and he's reading all the signatures, right? And he goes, how come your signature's not on here?
I never put the
Because she
spouse.
knew I would give you one in person.
Yeah, I don't put the spouse signatures on. It's like, your spouse can't love you up in person, then we got problems here in River City.
Very nice.
All right, I'll share one more thing because it just came to my mind, and I'll see if I get it right. I think it was Denzel Washington. You remember me telling you a story? Denzel Washington said his mom was, when he was young, she was a great pianist and she tried to teach him stuff, and he was not very much into it and didn't do a really good job. But he said she tried to interest him by saying, you know, the greatest story ever told is told in the notes. The 8 notes, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. He says, how can those notes tell a story? And she says, well, you have to play them right. And he said, so he went, da, 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 da. She says, that's right. But now you have to go the other way. Da, 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 da. And he said, well, how is that the greatest story ever told? Or the greatest story, the greatest news, I guess, as she put it. She said, well, you have to have the pauses right. First, second, fourth, seventh, and eighth, and sixth, seventh, and eighth, I think it is. And he said, well, Mom, he didn't have time for it, and he left. But recently she passed away, and he got to thinking about it after she passed away, what she said. And he remembered it very distinctly, and he went back to the piano and he played the notes. He tried it, the 8 notes. Da, 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 da.
Really?
Greatest news ever, and greatest story, greatest news. Isn't that sweet?
Oh,
I think it was
yeah.
Denzel Washington. I may have the person wrong, but.
I think it was Morgan Freeman, actually.
Oh, no, maybe it was. Maybe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
oh.
I love both those guys.
Talk about God bringing something back to your memory.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That was important, right? That was sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, very few musicians know that. Thanks, Kevin.
Cool.